Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi shares 10-year journey of his monthly radio program, Mann Ki Baat. Says listeners are real anchors of the program. Hails media's role in connecting India. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar hits back at Pakistan in UN General Assembly address. Says terrorism and diplomacy cannot coexist. Says Pakistan facing its own karma. And heavy downpour, landslides wreak havoc in Nepal. Over 120 people killed. Rescue teams continue search for the missing. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation on Sunday in the 114th edition of his monthly program Mann Ki Baat. India's Union Minister and Bharatiya Janata Party National President J.P. Nadda, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, along with other leaders in different parts of the country also listened to PM Narendra Modi's Mann Ki Baat on Sunday. People from all over the country also watched the Mann Ki Baat broadcast on Sunday. Prime Minister Modi also expressed his heartfelt gratitude to media channels across the country for their role in amplifying his monthly radio program Mann Ki Baat and ensuring it reaches every corner of the nation.
इस साल 3 अक्टूबर को जब मन की बात के 10 वर्ष पूरे होंगे, तब नवरात्रि का पहला दिन होगा। मन की बात की इस लंबी यात्रा के कई ऐसे पड़ाव हैं जिन्हें मैं कभी भूल नहीं सकता। मन की बात के करोड़ों श्रोता हमारी इस यात्रा के ऐसे साथी हैं जिनका मुझे निरंतर सहयोग मिलता रहा। देश के कोने कोने से उन्होंने जानकारियां उपलब्ध कराई। मन की बात के श्रोता ही इस कार्यक्रम के असली सूत्रधार हैं। मन की बात ने साबित किया है कि देश के लोगों में पॉजिटिव जानकारी की कितनी भूख है। पॉजिटिव बातें, प्रेरणा से भर देने वाले उदाहरण, हौसला देने वाली गाथाएं लोगों को बहुत पसंद आती हैं। मैं आज दूरदर्शन, प्रसार भारती और ऑल इंडिया रेडियो से जुड़े सभी लोगों की भी सराहना करूंगा। उनके अथक प्रयासों से मन की बात इस महत्वपूर्ण पड़ाव तक पहुंचा है। मैं विभिन्न टीवी चैनल्स को, रीजनल टीवी चैनल्स का भी आभारी हूं जिन्होंने लगातार इसे दिखाया है। मन की बात के द्वारा हमने जिन मुद्दों को उठाया, उन्हें लेकर कई मीडिया हाउसेज ने मुहिम भी चलाई। मैं प्रिंट मीडिया को भी धन्यवाद देता हूं कि उन्होंने इसे घर घर तक पहुंचाया।
Highlighting the success of Swachh Bharat mission, which is going to complete 10 years on 2nd of October this year, Prime Minister Modi said that it is the success of this mission that the waste to wealth mantra is becoming popular among people.
साथियों, स्वच्छता को लेकर जारी अभियान से हमें ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को जोड़ना है और ये अभियान किसी एक दिन का, एक साल का नहीं होता है। ये युगों युगों तक निरंतर करने वाला काम है। ये जब तक हमारा स्वभाव बन जाए स्वच्छता, तब तक करने का काम है। मेरा आप सबसे आग्रह है कि आप भी अपने परिवार, दोस्तों, पड़ोसियों या सहकर्मियों के साथ मिलकर स्वच्छता अभियान में हिस्सा जरूर लें। मैं एक बार फिर स्वच्छ भारत मिशन की सफलता पर आप सभी को बधाई देता हूं।
The Prime Minister acknowledged people working in the direction of water conservation and emphasized on the concept of catch the rain.
बारिश के दिनों में बचाया गया पानी जल संकट के महीनों में बहुत मदद करता है और यही कैच द रेन जैसे अभियानों की भावना है। मुझे खुशी है कि पानी के संरक्षण को लेकर कई लोग नई पहल कर रहे हैं।
India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, speaking at the 79th session of the UN General Assembly on Saturday, took a jibe at Pakistan over the terrorism that it harbors, saying the country is making a conscious choice of being left behind in the global order due to its karma.
Many countries get left behind due to circumstances beyond their control. But some make conscious choices with disastrous consequences. A premier example is our neighbor, Pakistan. Unfortunately, their misdeeds affect others as well, especially the neighborhood. When this polity instills such fanaticism among its people, its GDP can only be measured in terms of radicalization and its exports in the form of terrorism. Today, we see the ills it sought to visit on others consume its own society. It can't blame the world. This is only karma. Madam President, a dysfunctional nation coveting the lands of others must be exposed and must be countered. We heard some bizarre assertions from it at this very forum yesterday. So let me make India's position perfectly clear. Pakistan's cross-border terrorism policy will never succeed, and it can have no expectation of impunity. On the contrary, actions will certainly have consequences.
In a powerful speech, Jaishankar said that the issue to be resolved between the two countries is only the vacation of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir by Islamabad and the abandonment of its long-standing attachment to terrorism.
The issue to be resolved between us is now only the vacation of illegally occupied Indian territory by Pakistan, and of course, the abandonment of Pakistan's long-standing attachment to terrorism.
Amid the ongoing Ukraine and Gaza conflicts, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar at UNGA cautioned that world cannot be fatalistic about the continuation of violence on large scale, asserting that the international community seeks urgent solutions and its sentiments must be acknowledged and acted upon.
The world cannot be fatalistic about the continuation of violence on a large scale, no more than be impervious to its broader consequences. Whether it is the war in Ukraine or the conflict in Gaza, the international community seeks urgent solutions. These sentiments must be acknowledged and acted upon.
Strongly supporting the theme of 79th UNGA, leaving no one behind, India's External Affairs Minister also highlighted the need for more representative United Nations and reform in multilateral system. He urged all UN members to come together to change the world for better.
Let us therefore send out a clear message from this UNGA session. We are determined not to be left behind. By coming together, sharing experiences, pooling resources, and strengthening our resolve, we can change the world for the better.
On the sidelines of 79th session of the UN General Assembly, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met with his Mexican counterpart Alicia Bárcena. EAM Jaishankar also met Algeria's foreign minister, and both the leaders committed on taking forward long-standing partnership. They also discussed ways for advancing multilateral cooperation. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar also participated in the launch of the Pan IIT Alumni Foundation in New York alongside the 79th United Nations General Assembly session on Saturday. During the event, he appreciated the efforts and contributions of India's diaspora community in developing the Viksit Bharat. Campaigning for the third and last phase of the assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir to end on Sunday, with political parties making the final dash to win over voters of 11 assembly constituencies of District Jammu are all set for polls, with over 12 lakh voters going to exercise their right to franchise on October 1st. Polling for the first two phases was held on September 18 and 26 respectively. The counting of votes will be held on October 8. And Haryana is gearing up for its Legislative Assembly elections with few days left for the polls, campaigning at its peak with political parties gearing up to woo voters in their favour. The polling will take place on October 5th to elect 90 members of the Haryana Legislative Assembly. The results of the elections will be declared on October 8th. The current Haryana Legislative Assembly will end its tenure on November 3rd, 2024. The last elections, which were held in October 2019, resulted in a state government being formed by the coalition of Bharatiya Janata Party and JJP with Manohar Lal Khattar as the Chief Minister. India's Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar has said that elections in Maharashtra have to be conducted before November 26, as current Assembly's term ends then. Speaking at a press conference in Mumbai after reviewing the state's poll preparedness, CEC mentioned that political parties have requested the announcement of poll dates, keeping in mind festivals like Diwali. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. More than 60 dead from Storm Helene as rescue cleanup efforts grow. And US Asia Pacific nations hold joint maritime exercises in South China Sea.
India's chess masters have created history.
Something very historical, and I think and I really hope this means a lot to many people.
This is definitely a huge moment, not just for me, not just for the team, but the entire Indian chess.
We have been trying to win a gold medal in Olympiad for a long time, and we have finally achieved it.
I believed the boom in chess will happen, and I believed all this would happen, but I just didn't know how. I just kept doing what I do.
At one point, I was thinking within myself, oh, am I really speaking to the Prime Minister? Is he really next to me? It was such a humbling experience.
Is India the future? And I think we can say the future is now. We are world champions.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday virtually laid the foundations of and inaugurated various projects in the Maharashtra state. The projects are worth over Rs 11,200 crore. PM Modi unveiled the Pune Metro section of District Court to Swargate, which marked the completion of the Pune Metro Rail Project Phase 1. He also dedicated to the nation the Bidkin Industrial Area, which spread over nearly 8,000 acres under the National Industrial Corridor Development Program.
छत्रपति संभाजी नगर में लगभग 8,000 एकड़ में बिडकिन इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया का विस्तार होगा। कई बड़े बड़े उद्योगों के लिए यहां जमीन अलॉट हो गई है। इससे यहां हजारों करोड़ का निवेश आएगा। इससे हजारों युवाओं को रोजगार मिलेगा। निवेश से नौकरी पैदा करने का ये मंत्र आज महाराष्ट्र में युवाओं की बड़ी ताकत बन रहा है। इसी साल मार्च में मैंने रूबी हॉल क्लिनिक से रामवाड़ी तक मेट्रो सेवा का लोकार्पण भी किया था। 2016 से अब तक इन 7-8 वर्षों में पुणे मेट्रो का ये विस्तार, इतने रूट्स पर काम की ये प्रगति और नए शिलान्यास, अगर पुरानी सोच और कार्य पद्धति होती तो इनमें से कोई भी काम पूरे नहीं हो पाते। पिछली सरकार तो 8 साल में मेट्रो का एक पिलर भी खड़ा नहीं कर पाई थी, जबकि हमारी सरकार ने पुणे में मेट्रो का आधुनिक नेटवर्क तैयार कर दिया है।
In international updates, Israeli military on Sunday said that it had struck dozens of Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in the past hours, including launches aimed toward Israel, weapons depots and terrorist infrastructure. The IDF released a video on Sunday said to show strikes on various Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. The statement came 2 days after Israel killed Hezbollah leader Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah in a powerful airstrike in Beirut, dealing a heavy blow to the Iran-backed group as it reels from an escalating campaign of Israeli attacks. The statement further said Israel would continue to operate to degrade and dismantle Hezbollah's capabilities. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the killing of Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah a historical turning point that could change the balance of power in West Asia. He, however, warned of challenging days ahead. The Israeli military on Saturday said it had eliminated Nasrallah in the strike on the Hezbollah's Central Command headquarters in Beirut.
The state of Israel eliminated the arch-murderer Hassan Nasrallah. He and his people were the architects of the plan to destroy Israel. He was not only operated by Iran, he also frequently operated Iran. The elimination of Nasrallah is a necessary condition in achieving the objectives we have set.
Israel's right to defend itself against Iran-backed groups. In a statement released by White House, Biden said that Nasrallah and the terror group he led were responsible for killing hundreds of Americans over a 4-decade reign of terror. When asked by a reporter whether an Israeli ground invasion of Lebanon was inevitable, Biden said it was time for a ceasefire.
President, is a ground incursion into Lebanon inevitable? Time for a ceasefire.
A day after Israel eliminated Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah, Iran has called for a United Nations Security Council meet over Israel's action in Lebanon and across West Asia. The country strongly warned against any attack on its diplomatic premises and representative in a letter written by its ambassador to the UN. The letter added that Iran will not hesitate to exercise its rights under international law to take every measure in defense of its national and security interests. This comes as reports said that Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has been moved to a safe location. Israel's army on Sunday released a video, it says, to show an interception of an unmanned aerial target approaching Israel from the area of the Red Sea. The area of the Red Sea has become a smaller yet active front for Israel, with various terror groups across the region trying to target the usually bustling tourist town of Eilat. The Iran-backed Houthis say they are acting in solidarity with Palestinians in Israel's operation on Gaza. In more than 70 attacks, the Houthis have sunk 2 vessels, seized another and killed at least 3 seafarers. Eilat also has an international port for trade coming through the Red Sea. Israeli authorities said on Tuesday that despite escalation with Lebanese Hezbollah, no changes had been made at Israeli ports ranging from Eilat on the Red Sea in Israel's far south to the major Mediterranean ports in Haifa and Ashdod. At least 10 people have been killed in a Russian drone strike on a medical center in Ukraine's Sumy city. Sumy is located close to border from Russia's Kursk region, where Kyiv launched a surprise offensive on August 6 aimed at creating a buffer zone inside Russia. Meanwhile, Russia has said that it downed 125 Ukrainian drones over its territory. The drones targeted Belgorod region, among others. In Austria, polling stations were opened for a general election which could see the far right narrowly beat the Conservatives for a historic win in the Alpine EU nation. The Freedom Party, which has been leading in pre-election polls, has been incumbent several times but has never topped a national vote. Economic concerns and immigration have dominated the race, with Chancellor Karl Nehammer framing Freedom Party leader Herbert Kickl as divisive figure. While polls show neither party will win an outright majority, the victor will have the mandate to lead a coalition. The Freedom Party's Eurosceptic anti-immigration stance and Russia-friendly policies have drawn criticism, including from President, who has hinted he may block Kickl from forming a government. Nehammer's handling of recent severe flooding has boosted his image as a statesman, narrowing the race. Rescuers struggled with washed out bridges and debris-strewn roads in search for survivors of devastating storm Helene, which killed at least 63 people across 5 states and caused massive power outages. Helene slammed into Florida on Thursday as a Category 4 hurricane and surged north, gradually weakening, but leaving in its wake toppled trees, downed power lines and mudslide-wrecked homes. Federal emergencies were declared in 6 states: Alabama, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina and Tennessee, with more than 800 personnel from the Federal Emergency Management Administration deployed. Now classified as a post-tropical cyclone, the remnants of the storm are expected to continue inundating the Ohio Valley and central Appalachians through Sunday, according to the National Hurricane Center. In affected communities across the eastern coast and Midwest, storm victims and volunteers toting trash bags, mops and hammers tried to repair what they could and clean up the rest. More than 2.6 million customers were still without electricity across 10 states, from Florida in southeast to Indiana in the Midwest as of early Sunday morning. Rain fury continues to wreak havoc in Nepal. The floods and landslides triggered by heavy downpours in the Himalayan country have killed over 120 people. Rescue teams continue to search for 64 missing. Parts of Nepal have been inundated due to rainfall since Friday. Authorities have released warning of flash floods in multiple rivers. Cars and houses near the banks of rivers in the capital Kathmandu were inundated as rivers swelled up with heavy rainfall. Over 3,000 security personnel have been deployed to assist rescue efforts with helicopters and motorboats. Landslides have blocked several highways, leaving hundreds of travelers stranded. In the Indian state of Bihar, a flood alert has been sounded in 13 districts situated along the swollen Kosi, Gandak and Ganga rivers in eastern state of Bihar. Water discharge in these rivers has significantly increased due to heavy rains in Nepal. A total of 5.79 lakh cusecs of water was released, the highest in 56 years. As many as 13.5 lakh people in 13 districts are severely affected by flood water. Rivers have been overflowing in north and central Bihar following heavy showers in the catchment area over the last 3 days. The authorities have issued a high alert after several areas that were inundated, as can be seen in the visuals. The armed forces of 5 nations, Philippines, US, Australia, Japan and New Zealand on Saturday held joint maritime exercises in the South China Sea, while China conducted its own military drills nearby. For the first time, New Zealand participated, sending its HMNZS or Tia Ora to join the warships, including the USS Howard and Japan's JS Sazanami in Manila's exclusive economic zone. The drills aim to boost military cooperation in the region amidst rising tensions. The exercises followed recent clashes between the Philippines and China with the disputed Scarborough Shoal controlled by China for over a decade. Just days earlier, Australian and New Zealand vessels sailed through the Taiwan Strait, a critical waterway, further straining ties with China. The Indian Cultural Association, in collaboration with Swami Vivekanand Cultural Centre, continued Onam celebrations in Colombo on Sunday. Members of the Indian community joined the celebrations, which featured traditional Pookalam and cultural performances. The diaspora members enjoyed an enactment of the story of King Mahabali and wore the traditional Kasavu saris and mundu to give the celebration a traditional appeal. The celebration of the harvest festival of India's South Indian state of Kerala, which symbolizes prosperity, secularism and harmony, was observed on 15th of September this year. And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Former US President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump attended the Alabama-Georgia football game after his rally in Wisconsin. Arriving at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Trump was greeted by fans chanting USA and 4 more years. More than 35,000 Belgian Catholics gathered on Sunday at the King Baudouin Stadium in Brussels to attend the Eucharist led by Pope Francis. The Mass closes the 87-year-old Pontiff's 46th international trip. In sports update, the third of India-Bangladesh second test match has been called off without ball being bowled, and umpires have expressed dissatisfaction regarding the soggy nature of the outfield. Day 2 of second test was also washed out entirely without a single ball bowled at the Green Park Stadium in Kanpur. The weather has raised concerns about whether there will be enough play to force a result. This could be a huge blow for Bangladesh as they already trail 0-1 in 2-match series. This test match comes under World Test Championship cycle, and if this match ends in a draw, both the teams will share equal points. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Swachh Bharat from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.